Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Katrina Rasbold and Friends. And y'all just don't even know what you're in for today because the Madness kids are back together again. So I am excited to introduce to you one of my very dearest friends. This is Gregory Zarian.
Hi.
Now, Gregory, don't call him Greg, please. I'll be offended. Gregory is a lifestyle coach, and you might have seen him on Rachel Ray, not on Rachel Ray, but on her show. Also, also he is an actor, and season 7 of Venice is about to come out. And how many seasons have you been in Venice?
5, 6, 7, and season 7 came out a little while ago, and let's say again that it's just about to come out because it needs as much love as possible because it's one of the best shows that I've ever been part of.
Well, and that's saying a lot because you did Bones and you did Castle and you did The Rookie, Westworld, and Wonder Years. You were the only white guy on Wonder Years, if I remember correctly.
I was Julian Lerner's father, and we were coming back for season 3, but there was something called the actor strike that took that away.
And
but can I say something about one of the best productions, best casts, best in front of the camera, behind the camera, Dule Hill Sekon. I text with my TV son all the time. I'm very proud TV dad.
And I got to meet you because you were on General Hospital.
I was. Julius.
So this happened. Let me share screen here real quick. This is when we met. And that was 2014, if you can believe it. So 11 years of friendship.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me. So for all of you, I played Julius. Kate Howard's best friend, played by Megan.
Mm-hmm.
And we fan favorites and people were lovely. And then I was off the show, and I get invited to these fans events, and then I got invited to a GH past cast event. No, it was actually a GH event where Megan Ward was there and Karen Hennessy was there, and we were both part of that. And as I pull up, I open my door and somebody said, "Oh my God, you must be Lawrence." And you, my beloved, go, "I don't know who Lawrence is, but this one's mine."
Right.
And you interlocked arms with me. You walked me in, and connectively, we've never parted.
Never. And
one of the best gifts I've gotten from that show is being friends with you.
Me too. And truly, please don't tell him this because he's dear. I did not know who Lawrence was. I knew who you were, but I didn't know who Lawrence was.
It's Lawrence, and she knows who you are now. So, she
I do.
I do. For those of you that don't know, Lawrence is my identical twin brother.
So there is a scene on YouTube that's a clip. Did Rachel Ray really not know? There was a time when you surprised her.
She didn't know. Rachel Ray didn't know. We were on Steve Harvey. Lawrence was on Steve Harvey for quite a while, and we got him good to the point that he was in shock. And Lawrence now is on Kelly Clarkson, and we did something during COVID, but I punked her last year where I pretended to be Lawrence, and she was gobsmacked. She didn't. I was hugging her, and she said, "There's something different. I don't feel it the same." And she kept on looking at me, and she goes, there's something different. And I go, there's nothing different. It's me. And Lawrence came from out of the audience, and she said, I knew it wasn't you. And
That
they
was a
didn't,
great scene.
they didn't air this because there was on their Insta story that they used as a post, and they bleeped it. But she looked at him and she goes, I knew it wasn't you, motherfucker. And she was so charming and fun, and we had so shocked her. Um, she's one of the coolest gals in the business, and she loves Lawrence, and they love each other, and they are buddies. But it was one of our best punking each other ever.
That is wonderful. And I didn't give you a chance to introduce yourself. Now, one thing I also didn't mention, you're a print model.
Yes.
And you were on one of should be on your resume. I hope it is. You were on one of the Glad trash bag box.
I was.
And you're a social activist too. You have certain certain causes that are very dear to you that you promote. And I'm very impressed with the work you've done there.
Thank you. I'm all about Free to Love. It's an organization that was started by somebody I've known since high school. And that's it. Free to love. Love who you want to love, period. It's nobody else's business. You could be in love with that tree outside, and Godspeed, and I hope you love each other for a very long time. Who you love is none of my business. I'm also very much part of the Trevor Project. I've become recently very much part of the HRC. And Project Angel Food from the beginning, started by Marianne Williamson during the AIDS crisis. And we now feed anybody that is suffering, and we serve them a medically tailored meal. And part of our outreach goes to my AA sponsor, Tim Sullivan, who was my, outside of you, he's my candle maker. And,
does he make the gardenia candle?
He does.
I love that candle. I always think of your mom when I burn his candles, his gardenia candles.
Well, because you remember me telling you that was my mom's favorite candle.
Yeah, I do.
Damn it, you remember everything. You do. Yeah, Project Angel Food. Please Google angelfood.org to make a difference. And here's, a lot of people think that it's about donating money to these organizations. It's about donating time, but it's also donating, they're speaking their name. freetolove.org, HRC, the Trevor Project. If you're struggling with who you are sexually and you're afraid that no one's there, Google the Trevor Project, and you will find somebody on the Trevor Project's website 24/7 that can help you celebrate who you are, because emotional suicide, sexual suicide, hating who you are, feeling like you're alone. And now that there are avenues everywhere and anywhere where you are not alone, and there's one person out there, it makes me emotional every time, because somebody should not die for feeling like they're alone.
I agree. And we will have links to all of those in the description. So please check out all of those causes. They're all extremely worthy. And something else you recently did that I'd like to talk to you about, if you don't mind, if you don't want to, just tell me it's off the table. But you recently did a very candid piece with Maurice Benard.
I did. I thought you were going to ask me about my Wiki Feet page.
We can talk about that next.
I know. I have. It's so funny. There's this girl that's a fan, and I've met her once, and she created a Wiki Feet page for me. So whenever I post about my blue toenails or whatever, boom, you've been updated on Wiki Feet. So I love you.
Well, good. We need to link to that too.
We do.
And you are quite a shoes person too.
I am.
You have amazing shoes.
Shoes are sexy. Back to GH, I met Maurice doing GH and Megan Ward, and we gave each other a hug and a kiss. And everybody knows who, Sonny Corinthos. She is General Hospital. And when I started working, he just said, do what you got to do. And, he let me, I played a gay character. He let me touch him. And a lot of people were like, hold on, the character doesn't like it. Maurice was like, fuck it, just do it. And he gave me permission to be. And as an actor, to walk into someone's job that is so connected to a character in a show and just let me perform with him. Fast forward to his podcast, State of Mind. It's all about mental health and mental illness. And every time we see each other, it's a hug and a kiss. And I saw him at the market a couple of years ago, and I actually coached him on some stuff that he was going through by happenstance. And he called and said, I want you on the show. And we talked about my sobriety. We talked about my parents. We talked about my having such dark moments that I wanted to not be here anymore. And, I live my life one blink at a time. And I was given grace in those horrible moments, and it didn't happen. And I'm not saying that there's moments where I'm not dark. I'm not saying that there's moments where I don't. Today, I had a rough mental moment. And I think we all think sometimes, God, I just don't want to be here anymore. And the difference is realizing that it's okay to have a moment where you're like, fuck it, I don't want to be here today.
Yeah.
We're humans. You're a mom. You survived a massive fucking fire where you lost everything. Yep. I'm sure there were men that were like, okay, can you light me on fire? I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And we're human beings going through human moments. And Maurice and I mean this, he got the best of me. And I've had, with everything that I've done, and I'm grateful for all the people that invite me to their parties, and this is a party. I'm grateful for that, because a lot of people have said, I talked to my dad. I've called my dad because of you. I have forgiven my mother because of you. I have made amends. I was arrested for embezzlement, and my father was the mayor. I was arrested for shoplifting. My father was the mayor. I was arrested for a DUI. My dad was the mayor. And I got to apologize to my father for all of those.
So weren't you and Lawrence actually called the Princes of Glendale?
So, yeah, when your dad's the mayor, everything is spotlighted and highlighted. And, there's buildings named after us. And there's a train station named after our dad. And, I just got to host the 35th annual Armenian Educational Foundation organization. And my dad was a celebrated legend in that organization. And I got to stand up and honor my dad for being part of this organization. So, yeah. And we also have a brother named Vincent. We are Larry and Dolores and Doris's kids. And we were brought up to be perfect. And when you're brought up to be perfect, everyone breaks a little. And I just happened to shatter and rebuild.
So one of the things I think about when I think of your dad, and this could be misplaced, I don't even know if this is associated with him, but I think of him when I think of Damon's Steakhouse.
That's because you and I went there. We had a great date, and Eric, Katrina's husband, allows me to take his wife on dates. My parents used to date. My dad courted my mom in the first location. Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome. I think that's where I got that connection. I think Eric would like to go out on dates with you too, actually.
Bring it on, Eric.
So go ahead. I'm sorry, darling.
Your house in Grizzly Bear Flats.
Yeah.
I'll have a t-shirt from it. when you lost your house, was there a
Mhm.
moment that you didn't want to be here anymore?
At that specific time, I think I felt more here than I've ever been
Really?
because all of a sudden everything was possible. I remember when we got confirmation that the house had burned and we knew that it had. One of our friends was a Folsom cop and had gone up as part of the assistance up there. And he was our dear friend, so he went to our place and took pictures. And at that time, nobody could go up there. And he just kind of shook his head. And then he showed us the pictures, and we knew that everything was gone. And I just looked at Eric and I said, well, I'm not a hoarder anymore.
Wow.
And I wasn't a hoarder in the sense that there were dead cats behind boxes and things like that. But I had a couple sheds of stuff because I had things from my parents, from my grandparents. I had samples of the kids' handwriting, 6 kids, all through the years. I had their baby clothes. I had their baby books. I had over 1,000 of my own books on shelves in this one shed. I had a lot of stuff. And I always, like good hoarders, considered myself a collector, not a hoarder. But all of that was very suddenly gone. And I felt this weight lift because I had always thought, I was 60 when it happened. I thought, when I die, nobody, including Eric and my kids, will know why this stuff was ever important to me. And they are going to have to deal with doing something with it.
Yeah.
And so very suddenly, that was not an issue anymore. I had stayed on that mountain in Grizzly Flats for about 8 years longer than I wanted to because I didn't want to move all that shit.
Wow.
And so suddenly I could go anywhere. I could do anything. We were devastated. We held each other. We sobbed. It was horrible. We lost, our entire past was just gone. And my parents have passed. So there's no getting back any of that stuff that I lost. But at the same time, there was a certain freedom. Now, that being said, for a few months afterwards, Eric told me, I feel like we died in that fire. And then we're just walking around this, and we were in a rental house, walking around this house like Adam and Barbara from from Beetlejuice, not knowing that we're dead. And we had a lot of dysmorphia as a result of what had happened. And it was very hard to put our lives back together again. However, there were so many times prior to that fire that I genuinely knew for a fact I didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
One of the times I was pregnant with Delana, and the only thing that kept me here was knowing that she was inside me and that she had to be here. I knew she was going to be a force in this world, and she had to be here, and she is. And that kept me alive. And there were plenty of other times, and you were present for some of them. I just didn't want to be here anymore. And sometimes it was just knowing people like you who are so authentic and so willing to just drop anything if I needed them. That kept me going because that assigned value to me in some way where I had none. So there were many, many times in my life where I didn't want to be here and something kept me tethered here. The fire wasn't necessarily one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my story there.
Thank you for that. Wow.
Thank you for asking. So all of that being said, you've had some consideration of this, obviously. And I have a little bit of an idea of your spiritual leanings, so I know that that might inform it as well. What do you think happens when you die?
I feel like I was given a moment to see that. And I think I told you I was in a horrible car accident, pronounced dead twice. And I remember seeing my grandparents. I remember seeing my grandmother. I remember seeing friends that had passed. There was a calm to it. There was a freedom behind it. I feel we karmically repeat what we don't finish here to complete the next time. I do not feel I've only been here once. You know, I feel like Lawrence, my twin. I feel like we've been married in the past life. An ex-girlfriend of mine. I feel that we were married in the Civil War days, but I was having an affair with who became my ex-boyfriend. You know, so I believe that we keep coming back until we don't need to come back anymore. You know, do I hope that I'm going to see my mom again? I do. Do I hope I'm going to see my dad again? I do. But, you know, I feel my mom walk through me all the time. I was just in Istanbul, and there was such a wave of my father with me that allowed me to thank him for everything he went through, that he then gave us kids here this time around for him. So I think we just get recycled until we finally get it right in the best. And I believe in a God of my choosing. I don't believe in a man with a white beard. I don't believe in a woman in a gorgeous gown. I believe that there's something way beyond us. You spell God backwards, it's dog. So hopefully God looks like my Byron or your Bruce. You know what I'm saying? So I
I do.
believe, you know, when we cross the Rainbow Bridge and you see all these videos of once you get over there, there's all these puppies running to you. I also hope that's heaven.
Makes me think of Wii Sports.
We,
There was a running program where all these dogs ran at you.
touche.
Yeah. So I know you have a long list. So I'm going to let you curate that however you wish to for the next question. So we have a lot of people in our lives, and I know some of them in yours, who influence us through trauma, and they influence us and change who we are by modeling behaviors we don't want to emulate. So what I want to know is who in your life, and it can be multiple people, was influential to you in a positive way to make you who you are now.
You know, I'm gonna say my parents. You know, I don't, as I've gotten older, as I said earlier, you get arrested, you get arrested for stealing and you blame your father. He didn't do it. You know, my parents were immigrants in this country, and they taught us to be gentlemen. They taught us to say thank you and please. They taught us to really just have manners. Stephanie Edwards and my dad's celebration of life said that Loris and Doris raised three chivalrous men. You know, we are men and we are gentlemen. And, you know, I am so proud of the men that they raised. You know, you bet my father should give me a look if I don't stand up for you when you walk into a room. You bet that I should get a look from my mother if I don't open the door. And now with where we are in the world, I open the door for anybody. I stand up on a bus and offer someone my seat. You know, I was just on a plane and I see this woman struggling with her luggage. What about the guys that are closer than me that are not standing up to help her? Mm-hmm. So you bet I'm going to shove through someone to help them. So I help them put their luggage up and forget about it. And then 12 hours later, have her go, hey, thank you for that. For what? You know what I'm saying? Like I love that. Because I spend so much more time with Lawrence, I love that we're those men. I love that I have told my nephews, instead of saying, "Hey, mom, I want a Coke." "Hey, mom, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I get you something?" "Hey, mom, do you need something?" "Hey, grandma, let me take your coat and let me see if you and Yaya want something." I love that my friends let me do that with their kids. I love that John's nephew Chris lets me do that with his kids. Hey, go give Brennan your stepmom a hug. Go do that. Go. We'll play once you ask your dad if he needs any help. You know what I'm saying?
I
And I
do.
think that
I
comes from
do.
where, I still handwrite notes. I will never not say thank you. I'll never not say please. I will never, so my parents, as much as I hated it and as much as
Yeah.
I got smacked on the, I got spanked. As much as at the time I hated it, you bet I deserved it. You bet when I stuck my tongue out at doors, I had my ass kicked.
So
Yeah.
go ahead. You
No, no, no. You
mentioned
know what I'm saying?
I
You know,
do. I
you
do.
don't thank your kid, but you know what? I was a little fucker. I'm one of three boys.
So
Spank.
you mentioned John, and John's your husband, and he
Yeah.
is a silver god. And how long have you been together now? I don't remember. I know it's been since we met.
We've been together over 9 years. We met in an AA meeting. We've been married. January 2nd will be 5 years.
That's amazing. That makes me so happy.
One of the kindest people I know. Good guy. And we live life. We play. We really like each other. We do. We're human. We have moments. We are. Excuse me. We argue. People fight. But we've made a commitment to not name call. We've made a commitment to apologize, never perfect, and always wanting to learn.
I don't think you can ask for more than that, really.
Nope.
So you've already covered some of this to some degree, but what are you the most proud of that you've done in your life?
You know what came into my mind? Survive.
Yeah.
In sobriety, you go through your 4 steps. And the 4th step is where who hurt you, what happened, what was their part, and what was your part. And my sponsor, Tim, said, you know what, you survived. Um, you know, I'm proud of being the man that I am. I'm proud of really, really wanting to live of service and, you know, have the right people in my life. We were just talking before, as you and I know, we were talking about some of the people that I've said yes to in my life that fuck off, and I've let go of. Um, you know, uh, as an actor, I still work. I'm most proud of my Emmy nomination. Um, you brought up Venice, the series, season 7. Um, Krista Chappelle has invited me back. It's a love story that happens to be about 2 women. You know, I, I, I'm, I'm proud of the man that I continuously become.
Me
That's what
too.
I'm. Thank you. I don't. My father said to me once because he saw me. It's unfortunate when he passed away years ago, but he saw me on this great part on The Mentalist, and he said, "Do you think you made it?" And I said, "No." Then I wouldn't have anything to work for. As I joked with you that I'm on the stripper pole every day. I love my job. I love what I get to do. I love to tell stories, and I want to keep on finding other more. I can't be done yet. I won't be done yet. When I am meant to face that rainbow bridge, I won't be done.
So this is one of the ones I don't know how you're going to answer.
I didn't read your questions on purpose.
Oh, there you go. I see what's up. So what movie or TV show or podcast or book are you into lately?
TV show, we just finished The Last of Us. You know, one of my besties, Mindy Cohn, is on Palm Royale season 2. She's so flippin' talented, and I'm not saying it just because she's one of my nearest and dearest, who I have befriended through John, because they've known each other for over 30 years.
Now, this is Facts of Life, Mindy, right?
Yeah, Natalie Green. Some of my favorite things to do when watching actors is watching what they do when they're not featured. And watching Mindy, I called her even, episode 2, that she was featured, but she wasn't saying a lot. And she was so in it with everything that was happening here, and she was back there. It was wow. And I've done it for years, but I always watch. I think I started doing it during The Crown. Even the extras deserve Golden Globes, Emmy Awards, because it's such storytelling.
There's a lot of actors that can't or won't hold the field. If they're not being featured, they're
gone.
inert.
They're gone. But I don't. There's people that are so in it. You're looking at, even on soaps. You look at it and you're like, wait, I see. Okay, you're in it. I see you. It's made me a better actor for the past years watching all of that, because when you brought up, the Wonder Years season episode, the episode I was on, to be part of that storytelling, it was predominantly about a Black family in 1969, but to be the white guy in an all majority Black cast, but to be in that storytelling, but to not be featured, but to participate and the discover, and my character was Jewish in 1969. So to turn up the volume in your head and be like, wait a minute, let me see what that is. Let me pay. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Severance is phenomenal. As much as it has been slammed, and it's the #1 show on Hulu, what I find great joy watching right now is All's Fair, Ryan Murphy. And it's, Kim Kardashian. It goes back to what I look for. I'm watching Glenn Close and Naomi Watts, Neely Nash Betts, but I'm watching them watch Kim in the best of ways as a student. Because one, they raise your game no matter who you are, but look at the participation of all of it. I find it fascinating. I find it such great schooling. So that's what I'm watching. And as far as as far as a book, I could be a bigger book reader. I read People magazine. My favorite jam, because I get to the crossword puzzle, and I love the crossword puzzle.
I love that.
What do you watch now?
I just finished Severance.
Okay. Don't tell me anything.
I won't. But I'm caught up on that. I'm very impressed. It took me a bit to get into it.
2 or all of it?
Yes. I'm gonna out myself. I do not flourish with intellectual visual entertainment.
Okay.
So things like Inception, the movie.
Yeah.
where it requires a lot of strategic thinking. I don't know if it's my ADHD or what, but I get lost and I don't do well with it. I also don't do well, for instance, with war movies that are showing battles. I can't tell who's who when they're fighting. I can't tell who's on what side. So my point anyway is Severance I thought was going to outpace me, but then it came back and I was able to keep up. And so I was okay. I'm catching up on Stranger Things. And
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. I'm watching Welcome to Derry, and it's way too violent for me, but Eric likes it, so I'm watching it.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you. I love violence.
You'll love it.
John won't let me watch it in front of him.
It's intense. It's one of the most intense shows I've ever watched. I've got a list this long of things that I really watch. Huh?
Have you watched Penn Badgley?
I watched into season 3.
Go.
And as I was watching it, it felt like it was getting repetitious, so I stopped.
No, it gets. You know what I just finished too? The Morning Show.
I started watching that and only did a few episodes.
Marion Cotillard. Oh my God. And then, you know who I have, and I brought it up with friends and they all agree, who flippin' lives life as a character, Jennifer Aniston.
She does.
She's good. People stand like this. As my manager always says to me in my self-tapes, which I hate a self-tape, you move too much. And I'm like, I'm living in the moment. If you were in front of me and I'm auditioning, I just auditioned for Lioness. And I'm supposed to play, I didn't get it, but I play a dick at a bar. And I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And she goes, you got to be still. And I'm like, I'm living in the moment. Jennifer Aniston lives in the moment. And what I love is she'll do this with her hair. She was doing something that I'll never forget with Adam Sandler. They played husband and wife. And she was doing something and is there walking down a corridor for something. I would say maybe in Vegas. They were in Vegas and they're walking. She went like this with her necklace. And I loved it because that's what we do.
It's what we do. It's real life.
We do that. We do this. We go like that. And as we're talking, I was just on The Rookie. And my character, and I'm happy in the take, I was going like this. Doing that with my pen. We're not, a last selfish plug. Please feel free to find the movie 86 Melrose Avenue. It's about 8 people that were held at gunpoint in an art gallery exhibit. And I remember it's shot in real time, so you actually see all of us break because we're held at gunpoint. But I remember when I was on the ground and I was so in it, the director came up to me in between one take and she goes, "What are you doing?" And it was a shot of me. And in my mind, as this character, I was counting. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm counting." She said, "He wouldn't do that." And I go, "Wouldn't he?" She said, "But I see you counting and you're mumbling." And I said, "You see me going?" She goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't want to die." And she said, "But what's it going to look like?" I said, "It's going to look like Avi is counting." One of the best moments in the movie for me. Because I'm actually, you see this one woman journaling, you see this other one praying. I am counting.
Counting.
It's living life. And that was such a long answer. And I talk a lot and blah, 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 blah.
So you just came back from Istanbul.
I did.
You are a frequenter of Maui.
Aloha.
You've done a lot of travel. You've accomplished a lot of things. Do you have anything that's still on your bucket list to do?
Oh yeah. Are you talking work life? Well, work wise or life wise?
Whatever you want to
Yeah, I want to be on
do.
a great show and have a huge story arc. And as you said to me last year during one of our no, that was I think it was earlier this year. No, last year. Um, the great things will come to me, and they have. So please feel free to talk to the powers that be. That I'm ready for more. Just great storytelling. I give me some great storytelling and have it consistent. I hopefully am going to walk in a fashion show at Men's Fashion Week in Milan. I'm really excited about that. Um, I'm going to Egypt in February, so I'm excited about that. I'm grateful that I married someone that loves adventures. I love adventures. I want to create my own sober line of sober living. I'm trying to trademark the name now. And notice I'm not saying it yet because it's not trademarked yet, but it's going to be good. Um, I want to see things I haven't seen. I want to experience people, places, and things that I haven't experienced. I'd love to go back on the soap. Um, Best schooling, best amazing actors. There's so many things that are available in this world that I haven't done, so I want them to come to me. Um, there's relationships that are undone, so I hope they find their own resolve and I can find peace within them. And if there's something that I haven't done or haven't said to somebody that I could, and one day I'm supposed to, I want that to be known. Um, what about you? Oh, and you also made a comment that you want to author my life story.
Yes, still got to do that.
We'll do
I
that.
I just don't, honestly. I had several and I've done those, and it's not as though, okay, I've done all those, I'm going to quit. Now I'm just being without any definition of what that might look like. I'm just I'm very there was a book a long time ago called The Sacred Portable Now, and it talked a lot about the value of being in this moment without focus on the unformed future and the unchangeable past. And it affected me a good bit, and I didn't really understand it until this year. And this year, for some reason, I really got dialed into being very present for what I'm experiencing, and it's enriched my relationships and made me enjoy life a lot more because I'm really focused on what I'm doing rather than outcomes. And so I don't think I have anything. I would like to go back to England again. I really enjoyed that, but I mean, I did it. I'm grateful I did it, but I'd like to go back and do that again. And I think I'd like to learn to play the piano, but that's not looking hopeful. So I don't have a talent for it. And so, yeah, those are mine.
I can play Heart and Soul,
You're a step ahead of me.
and I can play the beginning of The Young and the Restless and Happy Birthday. My grandmother was a premier piano teacher.
Wow.
She was. She had big hands. She had big paws.
So, what is your favorite part of the day?
I love waking up. You know, I, John goes to the gym, and uh, I spend time with Byron. I will sit on the floor. It's one of my favorite parts. I'll sit on the floor with him. I will drink either a cup of coffee or a liter of water, and I will read to him or play the video of the St. Francis prayer and the Serenity prayer. And he will lay on his back and his nose will drop, and I will just sit with him. And it really, it's pretty special. Yeah, and I love my time with John, but there's such an unconditional connection with a pet. Yeah, he's my little heaven.
So, experiencing all that you've experienced,
Yes.
and with the understanding that everything you experienced got to where you are now.
Sure.
If you could go back in time to any point in your life with the full knowledge you've got now and say something to your past self with the understanding that your past self would listen, they might not do it, but they would listen to what you have to say and be receptive, where would you go back to and what would you say?
I should have read the questions sooner.
That's what you should do. Go back and tell yourself to read the questions.
Yeah. You know what I would do is I would do things like we're talking way, but I used to always feel that I would have to save my mom. Mm-hmm. A girlfriend of mine said to me a long time ago, you don't have to save everyone. So I've spent so much time wanting to save people so that they will love me, that I will get something in return. Please validate me, validate me. We were talking about some people, even financial gifts. I would go back and just say, you don't have to save anyone. You're enough. You're enough. The only person I have to save is myself. Mm-hmm. And take care of myself. Because then if I'm okay, I can then be there for you. I've spent so much time worrying about what you think of me that I've lost time just being grateful with who I am. Did I answer that?
You did. You really did. There was a scene, I'm going to get really weird quotey here, and it's not a direct quote, I'm paraphrasing, but there was a scene in the original Pee-wee's Playhouse where he had done something very selfless and then found that he needed what he had given away for himself. And so he was sad, and someone came in and asked him, what's wrong? Why are you upset? And he goes, well, I did this really great thing, and I didn't do it expecting that I was going to get anything, but then I didn't get anything. And I think so often when we are having conditions where we're being generous with someone, we're in our minds and our hearts, we're doing it out of love and out of compassion and a true desire to help based on the information we have about that person at that moment. But then when it doesn't pan out the way that we expect, that's when we realize we had expectations. And a lot of times we don't recognize that we did until those expectations aren't met. I've had that happen so many times in my life. So I really relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, just reminding myself that no matter what, I'm okay.
You're okay.
My yoga guru, Francesca Asumov, would always say, leave footprints of kindness wherever you go. And it could be as simple as when you walk down the street and if you see a meter that's flashing and there's a car, and if you have a dime in that thing, they'll never know. How great is that?
I want you to know how much I appreciate every kindness you've extended to me, and there's been many. I remember one time you and I were in a bar, and you left me with Ian Buchanan, and I didn't know it was
Oh
Ian
God, I remember.
Buchanan, and I just started talking to him, and I could tell that he thought I should recognize him, and I wasn't, and so I was trying to search my mind for who it would be because I didn't expect to be sitting in a bar with Ian Buchanan, and it was a wonderful memory. And of
I love.
course, here I am under the table texting, trying to convey to my friends who are elsewhere, oh my God, I'm sitting in a bar talking to Ian Buchanan. And they thought I was having a stroke because this message that came through was so bad. You just killed Ian Buchanan? What?
Yeah, who?
That was a fun time. Thank you for
It was.
that.
We've had some really good adventures.
We have had some wonderful adventures. I just mentioned you in a recent interview, in fact. And it was because we were talking about, you're going to love this story, you'll remember immediately. We're talking about heated seats in cars.
Oh,
And I said, oh, have you ever had a cool seat?
I did. I turned the AC on for you.
You did.
I
Do you
did.
remember what you said to me?
I did. I used my heated seat today.
Oh, is it that I always have my heated seat on. Always.
Yeah, I went to a smaller car, Defender, which I'm grateful for, a little two-door Defender. It's a truck, but still. Yeah, I'm grateful for heated and cold seats.
Yeah. You said to me with great enthusiasm, this was like childlike enthusiasm. You were so pumped. And you said, doesn't it feel like somebody's blowing mentholatum up your butthole? And I said, why, yes, Gregory, it does. And in my back of my mind, and I said this to Dahlia when I interviewed her earlier, I said, I was so flattered that he suspected I was somebody who would know what that felt like for comparison and could say, yes, in fact, it does.
It does. It feels like somebody smeared Vicks all over my butthole.
Fix. That's what it was, not mentholatum. Fix.
Vapor rub. Yeah, I don't. I was never a car person, and I was in a car accident, and insurance gave me $10,000 because the car I was driving before the Range Rover was an Escape. And I just mentally I always thought, God, it'd be nice to have a Range Rover. And it wasn't for anything other than I thought of it, I saw it, I walked into Range Rover on Sunset, and literally they took my check, they approved my credit, and I'm in my fourth version from them. And nothing better than have Vicks Vapor Rub blown up your butt.
But that was a really nice car. That was a nice car.
Come on down. I have another one that will blow coolant.
That's not even the one that I pulled you out of.
No,
in the parking lot.
I think the one you pulled me out of was I think it was my Ford Escape.
I think it was.
I think it was Seafoam Green. And the reason why insurance gave me a lot of money for that was they didn't make that style anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So for anybody driving the Seafoam Escape, be kind. Say hi,
Limited
friend.
edition. So, what? Now you mentioned Venice. What would you like to promote?
The love story. Venice the series, all 7 seasons are streaming on Vimeo. Created by Crystal Chappelle, starring her, Jessica Lucia, Nadia Bjorlin, Dot Marie Jones, Susan.
Oh, I love her.
Peter Reckel. Yeah, her husband Billy died last year.
Did you work with Dot on General Hospital? Was she there at the same time?
No, you mean was Dot on General? I didn't know that.
Didn't she play Big Alice?
She could have. I didn't know that.
I think she played Big Alice, the Quartermain's maid.
Oh,
that's why I thought that you might have. It was during that time, and you were in the Quartermain mansion a couple of times, I think.
I mean, I don't know how. I don't remember how I met Dot. We fell in love, her, Lawrence, and myself, and she invited us to her surprise wedding to Bridget, and we got to her wedding late, so we missed the nuptials. But we call each other Peach. I always say, "Hey, sweetie, how's your peach?" And she says, "Ripe and delicious. How's yours?" And I go, "Ripe and delicious." It's just a love story, and it also stars Harrison White. And I'm also in a great horror flick called Martinez, Margaritas, and Murder. It's on all streaming platforms. Um, Written, directed, and created by James Helsing. Um, Stars myself, Nicole Tom, Bonnie Aarons, Eric Stanton Betts, a guy named Danny Gomez, who is in a wheelchair, so he has a great story about living life in a wheelchair. He's pretty phenomenal, and some really, really, really great people. And it's just a fun whodunit, and we're all suspects. And I got to work with great. At the end of the day, we get to work with great people.
Yeah.
Modeling wise, I'm one of the new Delta airline boys. Brunello Cucinelli hires me to be one of their runway guys, and I'm grateful for it. And I love my job. I still handwrite notes. Um, I get to meet some really fantastic people, and every day is an adventure.
Well, you and Lawrence both started modeling very early, and I don't think you've had much of a break in your career overall, have you?
You know, uh, COVID, of course, for everybody. I had a little bit of a drop, but then, people still, it's kind of like acting, you like the way someone looks, you like the way they talk. Um, it's also who you are. Back to my parents, if I get up from a group table of staff and crew, I will say, "Katrina, are you done? Can I take your plate?" And a lot of people don't do that. I just did a huge week of shows, and I was hanging up the other guy's clothes because I'm part of that conversation. And it needs to be a seamless conversation. We all need to look good. And I will, I'm old school. Some really great people taught me how to work in this business. And I am forever grateful for what they taught me.
So we have completed our list of questions.
Shut up. No.
I have 8 more if you decide you want to come back another time, if you can stand
Please.
it. But
Um,
what a wonderful time. Thank you for sharing that time with us, Gregory. Appreciate you being here.
uh, Thank you for sharing back. And
Yeah.
I love you know, you're one of the special ones, and very grateful that you have invited me into your world. I mean that. I love you very, very.
Likewise.
I make a wish every time I light one of your candles.
Oh, thank you.
Put one yesterday, and you are one of my 4 goods.
You and I are very much city mouse, country mouse, and it works. So thank you so much. And I love you. So glad that you were here. And I look forward to visiting with you again. Thank you for being in my world.
Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.